And welcome everybody to another episode of the Pulse of Fins Nation. I'm your host, Louis Song. I'm joined by my co-host, Ron Caniff, and Chris Early, otherwise known as Duke. That's what I call him. That's what all his friends call him, I think. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to talk Miami Dolphins football again. Y'all see the title. Why are Miami Dolphins fans hesitant to celebrate? And Duke actually pointed this out right before the show, and I didn't even realize it up until just now. So the Dolphins just put up 70 points on the Denver Broncos in a historic fashion. And they could have had more. They decided not to have more just for the sake of being good sports about the whole thing. And today is
karma.
Yeah, for karma. It's funny because McDaniel even said the word karma. That's hysterical to me.
Yeah.
But in any case, so this is actually episode 70 of the Pulse of Fins Nation. Go figure. So they scored 70, and this is our 70th episode in celebration of that. So funny how fate works sometimes.
They knew this was happening.
Yeah, they knew we were celebrating our 70th episode, so they decided we're just going to score 70 just for them. That is awesome. That's the best present the Dolphins could ever give us. We're going to talk about all this, and we're going to get into as much as we can. But before that, really quick, just want to go ahead and mention that, as always, this show is brought to you by our good friends over at PrizePicks.com. PrizePicks.com is a revolutionary fantasy platform where you can now pick up to 6 different players across professional sports leagues. Whether that's the NFL, the NBA, the MLB, one of each, it's up to you to decide. Just choose whether your chosen player will get more or less than their projected stat. They give you free squares, special Taco Tuesday promos, Flex Friday specials where you can get your money back if you lose, or multiply the amount of money you can normally win. So with offers like that, it's hard to justify not signing up if you're any kind of a fantasy sports fan. So use that promo code 5, that's FIVE, and you can go, all you have to do is just put in that code, and they'll give you $100 of their dollars for you to play with, and then that's all there is to it, man. There's, by the way, Taco Tuesday. There is one extra taco that is available right now. It's Amon-Ra St. Brown of the Detroit Lions. There's a taco on his receiving yards. So make sure you're going in and taking advantage of that. Again, that's promo code 5, FIVE, prizepicks.com, the easiest place for your daily fantasy. And of course, want to go ahead and thank, once again, Biscayne Bay Brewing Company for being a sponsor of the show. They are the only brewery company located in downtown Miami, the official lager of the Miami Marlins, and partners with the Miami Heat. They are going to be having another watch party for the Buffalo Bills game. The game starts at 1 o'clock, so the watch party will be starting at 11:30. I won't be there right at the start this time because I have to actually leave for where I'm going to be before then. But if you all want to join us, all you have to do is go into the Biscayne Bay Brewing Company, say that you're part of you're there with 5 Reasons Sports. Their first beer that you have is on them. So that's all you got to do. Biscayne Bay Brewing Company, watch party on Sunday. Make sure you join us. We're going to go watch the Miami Dolphins hopefully beat down the Buffalo Bills. So speaking of watch party, Ron, what happened?
Yes. What now?
What happened?
What do you mean what happened?
Yeah,
I can't go this Sunday.
You told me, man. It's like hopefully it's gonna be this week that there's gonna be another watch party, and then you told me no.
This Sunday. Sorry, man. Not gonna be this Sunday.
Like that was even why I told Ethan, like, hey, we're gonna have a watch party because I know Ron really wants to go to watch parties.
Yeah.
Like I almost think that he set it up just for you, man.
Yeah, I doubt that. Trust me. I promise you, he did not.
But in any case, hopefully something's changed. Maybe the car will have it'll have a second wind just for the sake of the Dolphins.
Yeah, it's not. And by the way, it's it's the situation is my wife has the new car. I always have the hand-me-down. Now, usually the hand-me-down's a few years old, but for whatever reason, this damn hand-me-down the thing just won't die. But I don't think it's reliable enough to go down to Miami, and it's not that I can't get a second. Like I could go tomorrow and buy a new car. It's that I'm cheap. And I like not having a car payment, enjoying it very much. It's been years now without having 2 car payments. So I'm just cheap. But I'm telling you, that car, I don't trust it going all the way down to Miami from Central Florida. So, and my wife needs her car on Sunday. So that's why. That's the whole story that nobody cared about that I just said. Now let's get to the Dolphins.
Okay, let's talk about the Dolphins. So as everybody is aware by now, the Miami Dolphins 70-20 over the Denver Broncos. There are people absolutely wrecking Sean Payton. Shannon Sharp on First Take.
Yeah,
was so funny. Like it was hysterical to watch because he was so mad. Like he was just furious over what he witnessed. Like giving the Dolphins their flowers, don't get me wrong, but he was so mad that Sean Payton just like he was talking about how, Nathaniel Hackett's the worst coach that I've ever seen in this league. And then he gets whooped 70-20. Like Shannon Sharp wanted to eat Sean Payton alive for all that. So it was really funny to watch. It really is. And it's so satisfying in a way to see all of these media outlets suddenly decide, oh, you know what, the Dolphins might actually be something here. Like they can't deny it anymore. They're still having their crap takes. Like I recently saw your favorite Ron, Colin Cowherd, talking about how Tua still can't throw deep. That's why he needs Tyreek and Jalen Waddle.
Yeah, well, whatever. That's fine. He could say that. He also said he thought Miami Dolphins were the best team in the NFL too.
I know, right? But it's like the Dolphins can be the best, but it can't be because of their
And Stephen A. Smith list came out today, and he also had Miami Dolphins as the best team in the NFL. I mean, I'm not saying it's true.
You're not.
Well, no, I'm just saying I know it doesn't mean that it's true because they say it. I'm just saying that because it doesn't really matter when they said all the dumb stuff they said before, I didn't believe them then. So I don't suddenly think, oh, it's true because they say it. But it's interesting to see, so many people having the Dolphins up top and, with Super Bowl aspirations, Super Bowl hopes, and putting them in the top tier of the teams. It's nice. I mean, it's been a long time as Dolphins fans since we've enjoyed this. And I know there's a few team fan bases out there that have never or haven't enjoyed this in so long they couldn't remember when. But screw those fan bases. I don't care. We've suffered too. It's been a tough 20 plus years, that's for sure.
But I think that's part of the problem here, because as the title shows, why are Dolphins fans hesitant to celebrate? I was looking through some of the tweets in response to, everybody here knows, I'm sure, Big E, Ian Berger. He's the paragon of Dolphins positivity when it comes to Twitter. So, but even with all that, still, I have people in there. I'm looking through the comments, and everybody's like, chill, man. They haven't even won a playoff game. It's only been 3 weeks. And I'm just here. I'm rattling my brain here trying to figure this out. The Dolphins just beat the Denver Broncos. And regardless of what you think of the team, any team, they've been a lot of really, really bad teams that have gotten their butts handed to them by really, really good teams over the course of the past 50 years. Nobody has gotten it as bad as the Denver Broncos at the hands of the Miami Dolphins. That has to count for something. Because even Kansas City, everybody was talking about Patrick Mahomes, the Chiefs. They're in a league of their own. Nobody else even comes close to sniffing them. Did they ever beat anybody by 50 points? Ever?
No, but they won two Super Bowls and have been.
They won 3 Super Bowls. Okay, yeah, fine.
Sure. which is ultimately what our goal is, and I think that's the
goal.
Yes. That's why people are hesitant and nervous to start to let's start celebrate. You could tell. I'm going to tell you what. I'm just following the lead of the team leader in Mike McDaniel. I have never seen him more serious than I've seen that guy in the last 2 press conferences. The one after the game and the one on Monday. He's all about focus. He wasn't his usual jovial self. He wasn't making a lot of jokes. He wasn't smiling and laughing and cracking up, because he knows it's about keeping that focus. He doesn't want his team to get over their skis, if you will.
About it, yeah.
Doesn't want to get big head about it. Doesn't want to lose focus. That's a big thing. So I'm just kind of following suit with that. As a fan, I want this team to be relevant. Yes, check. Okay, we want our team to be relevant, right? We want to turn on national shows and see them talking about the Dolphins in a good light. Okay, check. Next, we want to be contenders. Okay, contenders, check. But finally, we want to actually win playoff games and compete for the Super Bowl. And man, we are still a bunch of games away from that. And I think that's why everybody's like, yeah, man, I was pumped as heck on Sunday. Like I was just, man, it was like a drug. You know what I mean? It was like the best drug you'd ever had. Watching us score 70 points and just roll it up on Sean Payton's team, especially with all the crap he talked about. And we talked about it, before, even during the offseason, we talked about this would be a game because Sean Payton had talked so much crap about Tua during his 1-year hiatus as an analyst. So it was really nice, but man, now we play Buffalo. Buffalo's playing great. We did sneak out a win on them at home last year. They beat us twice in close games in Buffalo. But this will really tell us something. So I think that's where the focus is of the fans. They want to win this Buffalo game. They know it's important. We could put Buffalo at 2-2 and us be 4-0. 2 games up in the AFC. 4 AFC wins to start the season, all against teams that at least had somewhat of a hope of trying to make the playoffs, and to include the Patriots, and 3 on the road. In a year, we have 9 home games and a neutral site game. So I think that's where people's mind is probably. And honestly, I've seen so much about the 70-point. I've seen it replayed. I've seen it on TikTok, seen it on Twitter. I've seen it on YouTube. I've seen it on national television. I've just seen so much of it. My focus is moving on to the Buffalo game. I'm pumped about this 70 points. Man, I am pumped because it does mean that our offense is just sick good. I mean, you don't do that unless you just have a really good offense. And we just want to see how far that offense can carry us.
And that's perfectly fine. All that is correct. I don't mind if people are like, okay, we're going to see if the Dolphins are contenders. But the mindset that I'm still seeing is that for some reason, we're acting like, okay, none of this matters until the Dolphins win a playoff game. We don't care. Like that's the mentality that I'm seeing from people, is that the Dolphins are not truly really contenders until they beat this team. The Dolphins are not contenders until they do this. The Dolphins haven't accomplished anything until they do this. And I'm just like, it's the same thing with Tua. People keep moving the goalposts because this is the standard that they want to set, but it's only as long as the standard keeps them miserable, keeps them grounded in a way. They don't want to be happy. They don't want to be excited because I guess the thing is that we talk all the time about the battered Dolphins fan syndrome.
That's what this is.
That's what it is, though. But at what point, like, are you going to be miserable all season? Because
if we beat Buffalo and beat them handily, I'm going to start talking mad shit to a lot of people. I'm waiting for this. I'm just waiting for this Buffalo game, and I've talked a lot though. I want to hear Duke. What do you got to think? What are you thinking about this, Duke? You've been quiet and patiently watching me and Lewis talk. So, your turn, sir.
Well, I think it's 2 parts. It is the battered fan syndrome. We've been excited before, and granted, this team looks different. But we've been excited before. We started 3-0 last year. We started 3-0 in 2018. And those seasons didn't finish the way we wanted them to finish. So there's that part of it. It's kind of like at some point we're Charlie Brown and we're not going to kick the football anymore. The other part is we've seen the hype this season with another team that died 4 plays into the season. So, everyone was hyping up the Jets. Oh, they're the Super Bowl contender. Everybody was on that bandwagon. That's all they could talk about. 4 plays into the season, it's over. They're signing Trevor Siemian. They're talking about getting Phillip Rivers out of retirement. I mean, it's complete disaster. And for Dolphins fans, we're kind of like, yeah, we've kind of been here before, but we've not done anything. So let's wait till we've done something. Besides just 3 wins, let's move it on a little bit. And secondly, it's like, well, we don't want to get, as you said, over the skis, and then something catastrophic happens, and then we're kind of in the same boat the Jets are in, where we're just fighting for our lives each and every game. So it's just a matter of, I think if Miami makes a deep playoff run, let's say they get a home playoff game this year and they make a deep playoff run, next year and any year after that, it's going to be, yeah, we're great. Let's no matter what happens the first 3 weeks. Right now, we're kind of like, yeah, we've kind of seen this movie before. We know how it ends. Let's wait until it ends differently. So that's kind of my take. I'm with Ron. I'm enjoying the 70-point game. I'm enjoying the some of the stuff that you see on social media, some of the fun stuff. Some of the, not just the highlight reels, but just the way people take on things, like that one that was posted where some guy's yelling at Denver and cussing them out, and it's kind of funny. But at the same time, you're like, yeah, well, Buffalo is watching this stuff too, and they're going to bring their absolute A++ game, and we've got to be ready. The last time we won in Buffalo?
Somebody actually
It was
Somebody
2000.
actually put it in here. Hold
Yeah,
on
but
one
he said
second.
something about a Rex Ryan thing. Was Rex
That
Ryan ever with Buffalo?
that was the 2016 game where I can't remember the kicker's name, but he hit that he kicked the actual quarterback football for like 50 something yards to send it to overtime, and then Jay Ajayi went had that long 50-yard run, and they kicked it, and Rex Ryan didn't get that timeout before he kicked the ball, and they won in overtime. And that was the last time they'd gone to the playoffs before last year. So that's the last time they've won in Buffalo.
He ran for 200 yards on him.
Yeah, he had a 50-yard run in overtime.
Yeah,
that got and that game was all kinds of stuff. So it was a wild game in Buffalo. Now, yeah, granted they played them close last year in the playoff game and in the regular season. And the benefit here for yes, thank you, Andrew Franks. It's going to be early in the season, so there's not going to be any cold weather to deal with that we've had to deal with in the previous years. I don't remember,
which we handled well last year, by the way. It didn't seem to hamper our team
and
anyway.
With the way the team's running the ball, I don't think it's an issue. Would be an issue this year, but so that's a positive thing. But yeah, I mean, we've not won in Buffalo. They're division champions for like 4 straight years. So, it's like Ric Flair said, to be the best, you got to beat the best, and we've not beat them yet, at least on their turf.
Buffalo's still favored in this game. I don't know if that's,
I mean, the home team
some sort of trickeration from Vegas.
The home team always gets a little bit of leeway when it comes to the betting odds, because that's just how it is. You have the fans on your side, you have the environment is on your side. The whole thing is based on this. You're the home team for a reason. And even then, what was the odds? They're only 2.5 favorites.
I've seen 2.5. I've seen 3.
Okay, but that's the thing though, because I'm not a betting expert by any means, but isn't the usual home team advantage that you get like 3 points just because you're the home team? Which would mean that if they were on the neutral site, which would mean
that kind of makes it a pick 'em.
Right, which means if there was a neutral site, that basically Vegas would be saying, hands off, figure it out yourself. So that
nobody. If you're a betting person, this is a tough game to bet, because you don't know who's gonna prevail. And you would think Buffalo would at home, but the way the Dolphins are playing, but you can't favor them on the road. So usually the betting stuff has to do with the money involved. So it's probably even line betting right now. I would think that there's as many people betting Buffalo as there are betting Miami. And so that's where your odds are. If it leans one way or the other, you'll see the odds change.
Now, I want to go ahead and bring this up because Anthony Manzano was talking. He wanted us to comment on this, and this is the pulse of Fins Nation. So here's Fins Nation right here telling us that he's not moving the goalposts. He's been saying this at the beginning of the season. Performances don't really matter till Tua, I guess he being Tua, does this in December where he disappeared the last 2 seasons. Okay, first of all, just going to bring this up. If you're talking about he disappeared in late in the season, San Francisco, okay, fine. The defense figured it out.
In San Francisco.
Los Angeles.
Miami actually had a great game plan for that defense, by the way. We really, if he was just pressing, I think he just wanted it too bad for his coach. In my opinion.
But that's fine. That's the thing that happened. Yes.
Yeah.
And then, but Green Bay, he was coming back, and then he ended up getting his head bonked again.
Yeah. He was having one of his best games.
He literally disappeared. Disappeared.
He was having one of his best games of the season, the first half of that Packers game. The Chargers game, I mean, we have no excuse for it. It was just completely terrible all the way around.
Right. However, but he made up for it.
More than made up for it, because he played that same defense to include Bosa and Derwin James that they did not have last year, and he slayed them.
And he wrecked them.
Absolutely
tortured them.
So I'm not really worried about the whole Tua is going to disappear in December. Now, the team as a whole, sometimes the Dolphins have a tendency to do that in some of the cold weather games and whatnot. But
with Brian Flores, and Adam Gase,
and
Joe Philbin, and who else? Who other coaches you want to bring up?
I'm not concerned about that. Really, I'm not concerned about it. This Dolphins offense is just different. Now, will some people come up with some defenses? Some teams come up with some different defenses that'll simmer it down. Well, we already saw that with the Patriots. They were able to do that, but Bill Belichick is still one of the greatest defensive minds in this league, in
And
the
mind
history
you,
of this league.
Ron,
Just no
mind you-
doubt. And he
mind you,
still
Ron.
struggled to keep us. Go ahead.
If Jason Sanders doesn't miss 2 field goals, we still score 30.
Yeah, exactly. We were still on
that's
track
slowing
to score
us
30.
down. 30 points is slowing them down.
Now on this Buffalo game, I want to mention something. People are so hyped about, oh my God, Buffalo sacked Howell 9 times, sacked Howell 9 times, sacked Howell 9 times. I want to give you a next gen stat that will just shut that up right now. If that had been Tua and not Howell, you know how many sacks it would have been? And I can prove this with facts. 0. You want to know why? Tua averages, what is it, about 2.09 seconds to release the ball right now?
To be honest.
Howell held on to the ball 4 seconds or more on every single one of those 9 sacks. Every single one. There might have been one play total that I think we counted. It looked like about 4.4, 4.5 on that first touchdown pass to Tyreek, where they kind of lost Tyreek. Denver kind of lost Tyreek, and he just kind of floated into the big gap there. That's the only time Tua even held onto the ball that long. He averages just over 2 seconds to throw, and his receivers get down the field way faster than Washington's receivers anyway. Yeah, that I'm not concerned about those 9 sacks. That's not happening. It's going to be if Buffalo's smart, they won't even be trying to they won't even be thinking in their mind, hey, we got to get our hands on Tua. If that's their game plan, good luck. You're going to lose. So I just want everybody to just relax on that point. That I'm not worried about. I'm not worried at all. Honestly.
Yeah, you can't play the Miami Dolphins the way you play any other team. So, and people got to remember, this is Sam Howell's 4th start?
Something like that. I'm not really sure,
start.
Honestly.
So
yeah.
So while he's not a rookie, he is very inexperienced. That's not Tua, and we saw that last year in the games. I don't know if Tua was sacked in any of those. I know he was sacked in the first one. I don't remember the second one, but he's a year ahead in this offense. It's playing at a different level, and the one thing that we did notice this week is he's getting the ball out to his running backs. So if he starts to take too long in the pocket, McDaniel's going to be in his ear saying, hey, listen, you've got this guy that just scored 4 touchdowns in his breakout game as a rookie with 4.3 something speed. Get him the ball. Get Mostert the ball. Heck, get the ball to Chris Brooks or Alec Ingold. I don't even care. Just get the ball out of your hands. So that's what Tua's doing. We talked about that. Now, what's really different is the fact that Tua's essentially checking down 11 yards down the field.
That's a check down for him.
His time to throw is check down speed, and he's doing it like he's deep balls. It's crazy. Like somebody, I think it's PFF Sam said on a podcast that the time to throw and the intended air yards or whatever that stat was are diametrically opposed to one another, and yet Tua's leading both. So, I agree with you. I don't think the sacks are the problem. What worries me is the fact that the Buffalo Bills, despite who they've played, are second in the league in scoring defense, allowing 11.7 points per game.
Wait, hold on. I've got an answer for that too. Sam Howell, Garoppolo, Zach Wilson. I'm sorry. I just don't buy it right now. Show me.
So
they're going to play a real offense this week. Now, they hold us to 11 points. I'll give them all the credit in the world. They hold us to 24 points. I'll give them all the credit in the world. They ain't going to do that with Miami. That's not going to happen. They have played some of the worst offenses in the NFL so far. That's why.
And so I saw a tweet this week that somebody said that Miami hasn't really fought anyone in their weight class yet.
Oh, that's bullcrap too.
And that's, well,
we played one of the best defenses in the league in the Patriots. We played maybe the most talented if you just look at the personnel wise, besides the 49ers and the Chargers.
And the Dolphins.
And the Denver defense was one of the best defenses in the league the last 2 years, and they got most of the same people.
And so
that is just not true either.
They have Vance Joseph and not Ejiro Rivera, which is a major.
I get that, but they played talented defenses. They're not that we haven't even played any cream puff teams. We haven't even played cream puff teams yet.
So I don't respond to tweets like that because I don't really want to get into that kind of stuff. But I would say Buffalo hasn't fought in their weight class either. So this is unfortunately we don't get Kevin Harlan. I can't remember who they get. I saw it. My first thought.
Oh yeah, no, they're
Nance and
Tony
the big
boys. Jim Nance and Tony Romo.
So I was like, first of all, I want Kevin Harlan. That dude's the man.
He's
like,
fun to listen to.
They got some crappy game. I'm like, what did they do to deserve this? I guess it's what you get when you get 2 Dolphins games. What's the average? They've scored 100 points in the 2 games he's called.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
106 points. So they're like, listen, dude, you're going to have to go somewhere else and see if you can get excited for these crappy offenses. So, but yeah, we've got the big boys. This is the big match. This is not the undercard, and so it's going to be fun to watch. But I don't think that the team is getting the big heads. I think that's going to be. This game is going to be on mute. So I'm just going to.
Remember when Tony Romo was awesome to listen to?
Yeah, but then he started. That was before he just started showing so much. I don't know.
I know we lost
towards certain players and certain teams.
I know we lost the playoff game, but my favorite is at the beginning of. I think Miami had punted, and the Bills got the ball, and Romo was like, "Man, I just feel like Josh Allen's about to break out. He's getting ready to do something." What's the next play that happens? No, he got sacked by Eric Rowe. Fumbled. Sealer scores the touchdown. Miami takes the lead. I was like, that's just great.
Josh Allen did something.
Yeah,
he did. He sure did. He broke out of something.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think that's part of why we're hesitant to celebrate is because what we've done is good, and
what we've done is great, Duke. Don't sell it short.
Yeah.
They've been
what
phenomenal.
we've done so far is phenomenal.
And
absolutely.
So what we don't want to do though, and one thing that I am glad is we did not play down to our opponent. Denver was hurt on defense. I can't think of his name. He's the safety. Justin Simmons was out. That was a big blow to them.
We lost Jalen Waddle, so that even
Frank Clark was out as well. Yeah,
but you want to see a team. Look, we know what Kansas City is, and they went into Chicago, which is the most dysfunctional team in the NFL at this point, and they beat that team like a Super Bowl champion team should beat a dysfunctional team.
Right.
Yes.
Exactly.
And Miami did the same thing to a not quite so dysfunctional team.
But that's my point exactly, though, Duke. That was my point exactly.
Well, and I think it's the fact that they, if Kansas City comes out this year and just goes 9-8, they've built some I don't have the word on top of my head, but they've built some of that buffer that they can say, you know what, we know that just is the down year. If Miami comes out 9-8, it's going to be, just something awful. So, I just want to see more of it. And so even if they lose this week, if they go up there and they get blown out, that's one thing. If they go into this game and the Bills kick a field goal at the end to win 38-35, you still feel good about yourself, right? You went to one of the best teams in the league in their house and you put up 35 points. They just happened to have the ball last and beat you, and you tip your cap. If it's, Buffalo, 42, Miami 21 or something, that's not good.
What if it's Miami 42, Buffalo 21?
Then there's no excuse left for battered Dolphins syndrome.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. That's
me.
Me. For me, it's this game, man. This is the game that I just can't get excited until I see what we do in this game, especially with Buffalo playing well the last 2 weeks.
This is, for all intents and purposes, a playoff game.
Yeah, it is.
It's going to have that. It's going to have that level of atmosphere, because you think about what just happened, and think about what Buffalo did. And Buffalo beat a crappy team, or a team lower than them. 38-3, something ridiculous. So imagine when you win 38-3 and nobody's even talking about how good you were, because your next team, your division opponent that's coming into your building, had this great game, a historic game. So those fans and the team, they've got this stuff all over the bulletin board. It's like, this team thinks they're great now, and this is still our division. And so it's going to have a playoff level atmosphere in week 4.
Yeah.
So, I stand every game. I can't sit down. I'm not one of those. I've seen people post these like, oh, look at my man cave where I watch football. And I got these nice couches. I'm like, look, you can just have a blank room, an empty room with a TV, and that's me, because I'll just stand there because I get too nervous to sit down. This game's going to be like that. So I'm hoping Miami can win this going away, but not that I'm expecting that. But yeah, this is a playoff game. Going to be a playoff atmosphere. And if Miami comes out of this game, regardless of what the final score is, if they win,
yeah, I just want the win, man. I just want a dub and healthy.
Yeah,
and come out healthy
and a dub, and then then we can sit here and be like, all right, look, we can start talking about bigger things.
I agree.
I know Alf said that last week. If Miami comes out of this game 4-0, you beat 2 division opponents, you beat another AFC contender, and 3 of basically 7 road games out of the way. Yeah. It's time to start thinking 1 seed.
Yeah, I agree.
Again, that's part of the problem that I have here, is that we're setting all these standards. We're talking about all these things. Yeah, we just want to beat Buffalo. We just want to get in there with a win. This is my problem with this whole thing. It's the same mentality. Duke, you said it. Teams that are good go in and beat the crap out of bad teams. That's what Kansas City did to the Bears. That's what we did to the Broncos. Great. But here's my problem, is that when people look at the Kansas City Chiefs, they won 2 Super Bowls. Not going to take that away from them. But everybody expects Kansas City to be the best. Yeah. No holds barred. No, there's no excuse. So now you have the Dolphins, who starting even last season was showing exactly what they could be. They were absolutely tormenting defenses last season. And there were only 2 games total where Tua was in, and it didn't look like an absolute juggernaut. It was San Fran and the Chargers.
And the Chargers.
We've already clobbered one of those demons.
Yeah. We made amends on one of them already.
Right.
Yeah.
So the only one left is San Francisco, and that's the only one that you're going to kind of raise an eyebrow and wonder. But see, that's the thing. You're saying that, but are you being serious about it?
It's the only chance we have to play him this year, right? I mean, what else can I say?
Right. But that's my point, though. We're looking at it from the perspective of we're still trying to prove ourselves. I don't feel like there's any more proving that we need to do, because if you're waiting for the playoffs, if you're waiting for December for the Dolphins to prove themselves, then you're going to have a really miserable start to the season. Because if every game that you're playing up to that point does not matter, and that everything you're seeing early on is like, yeah, the Dolphins are 3-0, but it doesn't mean anything. Yeah, the Dolphins beat Buffalo, but they only squeaked by, so it doesn't mean anything. We're going to keep changing it until we reach the point where we are in the playoffs, and it's like, that's why I get frustrated, because nobody is willing to fully commit to this whole idea that the Dolphins are the threats. We're not facing teams that are threats to us anymore. We are the threats. We walk into someone's house and people should be scared to face us. I'm sure that there are a lot of teams out there that are looking at the Dolphins. Even Sean McDermott went into the press conference and he was asked, how do you prepare against this Dolphins defense? And he said straight up, I don't even know where to begin. That's the head coach of the Buffalo Bills saying he's not sure where to start.
Well, I can tell you,
we are the threat. And
I can tell you what he's not going to do. He's not going to have a scout team quarterback try to throw left-handed.
Oh my God. Sean Payton needs to go back to broadcasting.
Listen, I want to put this out because I was thinking about this today. Okay, so we had the whole Brian Flores, Michigas, and they let him go. And everybody was like, oh, they're going to go after Sean Payton. But we weren't sure. Well, Miami talked to him. Shouldn't have. Lost the first-round pick.
Yeah.
Mike McDaniel, the Dolphins was the only team that offered him an interview. And I remember the talk that this is just a placeholder. If the Dolphins collapse, They're going to dump him. It'll be a one and done. They'll get Sean Payton.
Yeah, I remember that.
And so I know we talked about last week the revenge factors. And I didn't think about that at the time. I was like, this guy probably heard, well, they're just going to dump you for Sean Payton. And he went out. Listen, I've seen some bad wedgies in my lifetime. This was something else. He hung that team up by their underwear on the flagpole. Just ridiculous. So it was one of those things that I don't know if Stephen Ross just kind of, lucked into it or whatever term you want to use, but they absolutely got the right guy and just dodged a major bullet there. So, it's one of those things when you see stuff like that happen and you see your quarterback come out and he's playing like the 5th overall pick should be playing and he's in the MVP talks. It's kind of like, maybe, just maybe it's our time.
Yeah, why not us? I agree with that. Why not us?
This isn't one of these deals, and I will say this on the positive side. This isn't one of those deals like 2018 where they had that 7-hour-long game against the Titans. And I don't even remember who
I was at that game, by the way.
I don't even remember who
the
week
press
2
box
was.
For that game. That was miserable.
I don't even remember who the second game was, and then they played the Raiders.
I was at that game too, the Raiders game.
Raiders week 3, and that was the high five game.
Yeah, that was the high five. Yeah.
Did you ever in that and they started 4-2 in 2017, aka the season that will not be named. They started 4-2 in that season. Did you ever feel in those seasons like, yeah, this team's top? This is one of the best teams in the league. I remember thinking, they're getting there, but they're not.
Yeah, I never thought that. No.
This team just feels different, and
100%.
even the defense, and we'll give them the pass on game 1. That was a strategy. They go into they've held 2 decent teams rushing the ball. They've held them under 100 yards. This just looks like a team that you expect to go into Buffalo and score points. This looks like a team that you expect to play Kansas City on a neutral field and score points.
Absolutely.
This is a team that you expect to see in a few weeks go into Philadelphia, a hostile environment on Sunday Night Football, and score points. Now, whether or not you go in it fully expected to win is a different thing, but this is a team you think, yeah, they've got a puncher's chance against any team in this league. Line them up right now against anybody else in this league, and you don't think, yeah, they're going to get their teeth knocked in by this team or that team. No, you just don't. So I think we're in that boat. So for me, I look at it positively like that. And I also have the trepidation of like, yeah, well, is this fool's gold? And I hate that.
It's not though.
There's a mentality. And I saw a tweet today from a good friend of mine, Greg. He and I you remember him as CT from the Finsider. We battled for a decade plus on the Finsider arguing about football. And he said, I like it. I like it when people say that the Dolphins are the best team. I want the Dolphins to be the best team. I hope they say that. I want that target on our back. The good teams, the great teams, get that target on their back and still go out and win. So if Miami wants to be that team, welcome it. I think I saw an article today that Raheem Mostert said, yeah, we're that team. Good. I agree with him. I want to see this team with the swagger. Now, as fans, yeah, I'm going to be nervous and think stuff. For them, I want them to walk into Buffalo and think, this is our game. This is our stadium now. We own this place, even though they haven't won there in 7 years. This is our place. And I think they will look at it that way. I think they will approach it correctly. But it's just exciting. It's a new place for us, really. Because when is the last time that we were really, truly the best team or a top 3 team?
Or considered to be that?
Yeah. It's been a long time.
Maybe 2001 season, a little bit. I don't know. I don't know that we were considered like the best team.
I know that
possibly 94.
I know that 2005 we made the cover of. I think it was 2005 that we made the cover of Sports Illustrated with Dante Culpepper. Super Bowl, whatever.
Yeah.
So
but then we started playing, and
and so this is the first time in a long time that since
the Marino years, realistically.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is what it felt like. Like our offense feels like that. Feels like the Marino years right now. I'm not saying Tua's Marino. It's a completely different concept.
It's a completely different.
Yeah,
Well,
it's completely
you know
different
what?
style, but it feels that
hold
way.
on, hold on. Wait a
Feels
minute.
like even when it's 3rd and 15. Oh, it's 3rd and 15. 3rd and 15 for most teams we're screwed. 3rd and 15 for Miami is I'm gonna go to the fridge and make a cheese sandwich. How easy is it to do that? Pretty easy. 3rd and 15 for Miami's the same way. Like we eat 3rd and 15 for breakfast. We don't care, but we don't even know what 3rd and 15 is because we don't have third downs anymore.
I said this today. I said this today in another chat room. I said, is it wrong of me to not care if we get a 15-yard penalty for an illegal blindside block on Matt Milano? And I'm like, do it on 1st down. It'll be 1st and 25. We'll convert. I mean, we had a 1st and 22 this game. 2 plays later, it was 1st and 10.
Yeah.
1st and 22. I remember a time not too long ago.
I was about to bring that up, Duke.
3rd and 7 was a punting down.
Yep. Yeah. I remember. I was about to bring that up, and you said penalty, end of drive.
Yeah. Oh, it's a holding penalty on the offensive line.
That's what it was like in the Marino years.
Punt on 1st down. Yeah, it's just this. It's like they're going to convert. If it's 3rd and 7 and they only get 2 yards, it's 4th and 5. They're going to convert. I have not felt like this in so long. It's hard to. It's like I see a part of it and it happens, and it's 3rd and long, and I'm like, man, they're not. What are they doing? Let's go ahead and punt. And then Tua throws a dart for 17 yards. And you're like, oh, yeah, I forgot. That's Tua in this offense. We're good. And so now I'm starting to get a little confidence in this. Like, yeah, we're going to convert. So yeah, I think there was 2 penalties in one drive on the 2nd touchdown drive against Connor Williams. Both of them were lame. Let's go ahead and say that. So I know before people say, well, Connor Williams, whatever. They were lame penalties. It was like the lamest holding calls or whatever.
Like the one I was like, I didn't
see it
was called. Like I didn't even. I watched it like twice. I'm like, where was the holding? I couldn't believe it. But I will say this too. Mostly besides those calls, the whistles were kind to Miami for the most part. They really were. They were a little quicker on the against Denver than they were, except for those holding penalties that especially that first one, I didn't see it at all.
I went to a Denver site and there were a lot of people complaining about the officials.
Because that was the difference.
Yeah, trust me, we didn't score 70 points because of the officials. Like,
yeah, that's
maybe it would have been 63.
There were 2 plays that I recall that were penalties on Denver that cost them points. There was the touchdown to I don't remember who it was in the back of the end zone, and I think it may have, but there was they called a pick.
Yeah.
Now, the guy on TV explained it that if the defensive back is not moving, then the receiver has to
get out of the way
around him. If the
DB is moving, he has the right to.
Yeah, and it was on Justin Bethel, and I swear it's like he flinched to the right when the guy hit him. So it's like, well, you could call it either way. So it was a close call.
That was a makeup call for the illegal touchdown by the Patriots.
Yeah. So anyway, that was awful too. So yeah, the officiating didn't. I mean, they might have cost them a little bit of points. I mean, it would have been 70 to like what 28.
It would have been an absolute blowout.
I think it was who might have been Emmanuel Acho or whoever said they could have put up. Denver Broncos could have put up 50 points in this game and still lost by 3 scores.
If they put up 50 points, we score more than 70 probably. Like as far as we would have, or I should say this, we would have kept trying because we took out our starters in the fourth quarter, and we pretty much stopped trying to run plays that were even to move the ball with like 5-6 minutes left.
Yeah, and I responded to a tweet today about the touchdown pass to Chosen. I'm like, your backup quarterback was in.
Yeah,
he's a practice squad call up. I don't care if he's a veteran or not. A practice squad call up. He was not on the roster last week.
Yeah.
And that was against Pat Surtain. And what are you going to do?
Against the starting defense. Exactly.
Yeah, apparently I didn't see it. I haven't watched the All-22. Apparently it was a double move, and he bit, and Mike White took it. I mean, what do you expect?
Man, Mike White threw a perfect ball.
Now listen, if I told you in a vacuum, a backup quarterback throws to a practice squad call-up receiver deep against one of the best corners in the NFL, how many of you, what do you think your percentages are that you're going to say, yeah, that's a touchdown?
Yeah, not too often.
No. So
but he's really fast. That man.
It's one of those games for Miami. Everything went correct.
It did.
So we're going to talk about the actual game coming up a little bit here because I want to know. We've talked a little bit about this. There are some comments being made that, yeah, we've been burned so many times, and I understand that we have been burned. I remember, Ron, it was not that long ago that I was the one before the season started saying I was concerned that the Dolphins offense might take a step back. That was battered Dolphins fan syndrome in me, saying that the Dolphins might end up losing a step or not being as good as we hoped that they would be. I was expecting the same standard. I was not expecting them to get better. There is nothing about what this offense is doing that should give any indication that this team cannot go incredibly far places. We have to remember what they accomplished last year with Buffalo. They beat the Bills at home. Yeah, the Hard Rock Sun helped. Okay, great, fantastic. They almost beat them in the snow, and that was with them not firing on all cylinders. And they almost won in the playoff wildcard game with Skylar Thompson as the third stringer. So for us to go into Buffalo now, it's not snowing. It's not going to be cold. We have our team at full strength for all intents and purposes. Like maybe Connor Williams doesn't play. Okay, we still have Teron Armstead, though. And he's actually looking good. He's making his own techniques for blocking on the fly. That's how good he is.
At center, though.
Okay.
I don't love that, but
listen, man, you can't have it all. You can't.
No, it's true. I would feel super nervous if we were playing Philadelphia. I don't feel as nervous playing against Buffalo's interior defense, even though they're good. They're not Philadelphia good, though. But man, so Connor Williams, get healthy, get back.
Let me add this in Liam Eichenberg's defense. This is probably his first time playing center in a long time.
Maybe
and he's snapping the ball in a live NFL game against starting defensive guys. I don't think they took their main guys out.
Yeah, they did.
And it doesn't matter if these guys are as good as what Miami has or anybody else. These are NFL players, and he's snapping the ball for the first time ever, really. So
yeah,
I'll give him a little. I mean, yeah, he floated some back there, and you can kind of tell that he's like, I just want to get it back there. I'm trying not to send this thing into the third row. So I'll give him a break on that. Because
no, he wasn't terrible. I know that a lot of people think he was terrible. I didn't think he was terrible.
But get the nerves out, and that's the game you do it. So if you have to go up against Buffalo, at least you've done it now.
And there's still no word whether or not Connor Williams is actually not going to play or not. So
yeah, I don't think. Well, I think he'll be a game time. I have a feeling it'll be a game time decision. That's my guess. I don't know for sure.
There's still no way telling if Connor Williams might play or not. And even if he doesn't, Eichenberg wasn't terrible at center. He wasn't. And all we need is for him to be able to snap the ball to Tua, and the ball is gone. It's gone. So once again, we've laid out all the reasons why the Dolphins can/will win this game. Ron, you gave us the next gen stats. Tua gets the ball out in just a smidge over 2 seconds.
I thought it was like 2.09 average right now. Or maybe it was 2.09 last week. Or I don't remember.
But either way, that's the average.
Yeah, he's Sam just Howell, over 2.
And
he's
then those 9 sacks that they had against Sam Howell, and he was holding onto the ball 4 seconds plus. So
every single one.
Not a single Buffalo Bills defender is going to be able to even sniff Tua by the time the ball is gone.
If you stuck Tua in that spot,
and if you blitz him,
they get 0 of those sacks.
If you blitz Tua, God help rest your soul. Seriously, you're gonna just leave Tyreek and Jalen Waddle, who will likely be back, wide open with you sending in 3 extra defenders to go attack Tua. You're still not gonna get him. Tua's gonna see that you're open. It's like, oh, thanks for leaving this guy wide open for me. Thank you very much.
And that's a good point to go along with what Poltergeist said in his comment, is that Tua's command is on a different level, and he's understanding his hot read. And so now if you blitz, he knows where that's coming from. So if Buffalo wants to get home, or any team wants to get home with a blitz, you're going to have to really, really confuse Tua post snap. You're going to have to do some
Good
major
luck.
rotations or something because he's recognizing it pre-snap, he's recognizing it post-snap, and the ball is out. Go back to that. It was the Patriots game. He threw a pass. It was deflected by Kyle Duggar, but it was Eric Ezukama was coming across on a slant, and it was the hot read. And if Duggar had not dropped out just at the last second and deflected that pass, that's a touchdown. Because it would have hit Ezukama in stride, and there was nothing but green grass in front of him. So Tua's getting that ball not only out quickly, but he's doing it to the right spot. He's not holding and waiting for a hero ball. If that happens this week in Buffalo and they start blitzing him, it's going to be in the hands of Chan, Mostert, whoever else. It doesn't matter. So yes, like he said, his not only understanding of the offense, but his reading defenses, his understanding where the ball needs to go it's top of the line. It's elite right now. And that's tough to defend because you do what you can and the ball is still going where it's supposed to go. So
now, Duke, since you've given us all these wonderful reasons, let go of your trepidation. Let it go.
Well, I mean, it's going to be a good game. And here's the thing. I don't care how good the teams are. Unless one team is just really, really, really that much better than the other one, division games are tossed.
Miami over Denver.
Yeah. So now,
maybe.
I'll look back to the 2007 season. All right, the Patriots were better than everybody else in the division by a mile.
Oh yeah, by a country mile.
And so, unless you have that kind of separation between the two teams. I mean, I would feel that way about the Jets, even with Zach Wilson. Not that the Dolphins couldn't beat them, but it's because it's a division game.
No.
Division games are always close. They're hard fought. Teams get up more for those games than the other ones. And this game is against a very good team. So it's not that I have trepidation that the Dolphins can't win or won't win. It's that I know it's going to be a very, very tough outing.
Okay, so yeah, I don't think Teron Armstead and Robert Hunt are going to be okay with that. So I wouldn't stress that too much. So with that being said, before we do our zeros and heroes and all that stuff, I know that the AFC East games are tough. I expect the Jets to lose badly to Miami because I do not trust Zach Wilson to put up any points. That team isn't
as good as I thought they were in general.
Because Zach Wilson is the quarterback now.
Yeah, well, it's not just because Zach Wilson.
Even the biggest Jets fans in the world, freaking Mike Greenberg.
It's not just because of Zach Wilson either. I think that team. I think even in my own mind, I had that team as a much better team and a much better roster than I think they actually are. I don't know that Aaron Rodgers is making. Yes, Zach Wilson is the worst quarterback in the NFL. Maybe he's the worst quarterback in the NFL of the last 15 years. I don't know.
Wow.
But I mean, he's really bad. Like you want to talk
Nathan
about
Peterman
we consider Jamarcus Russell like a bust. I'd love to go look at Jamarcus Russell's numbers because I promise you there ain't no way they were this bad. We consider Jamarcus Russell and Ryan Leaf the greatest bust, like quarterback bust of all time, and I'll bet they aren't as bad. Their numbers aren't as bad as Zach Wilson's. But I'm not nervous about the Jets, especially if they're going to keep Zach Wilson at quarterback. And I'm beginning to wonder if, and really what we're doing now, everybody's like, oh, well, Miami's in there now because the Jets are out. We haven't played the Jets. What we're doing has nothing to do with what the Jets are doing or not doing. So I don't know what people are talking about there.
Yeah. If the Jets don't turn this around soon, by the time Miami plays them, they'll be checked out.
You say Zach Wilson will not be the starting quarterback when the Jets play Miami. I don't know, man. They seem stubborn. Like I don't even know who they're going to put in. If they still had Mike White, they'd have already made the change. If Mike White was still on that roster, they'd have already brought in Trevor Siemian.
So
you want to know what I think? Watch this. This is my conspiracy now.
Okay.
Aaron Rodgers coming back next year, right? He's making it a point to say he's coming back next year.
Yeah.
So Robert Saleh is seemingly choosing the Zach Wilson hill to die on, right? So
yeah, for whatever reason,
he's on the hot seat. His NFL head coaching situation may be on the line. Jets fail because you're not winning anything with Zach Wilson, and you're definitely not winning anything with Trevor Siemian. I'm sorry. So Robert Saleh gets fired in 2024.
Okay.
So Aaron Rodgers comes back. Who do you think Aaron Rodgers is going to go up to ownership and say, I want this man as my head coach?
I don't know.
Who's
Tom
the
Brady.
offensive coordinator?
I don't know. I have
Who's
no
the
idea.
offensive coordinator for the New York Jets?
Nathaniel Hackett.
His old buddy,
Hackett.
Nathaniel Hackett.
That'd be a terrible idea.
If Aaron
Yeah.
Rodgers wants it.
Yeah.
Now, the other conspiracy that I've seen would be the Jets just ride it out with Zach Wilson and get the number 1 overall draft pick. I don't think they're bad enough to get the number 1 overall draft pick.
No, no, I can't say Arizona anymore, can I?
That's right now.
That's
Chicago.
the Bears. That's the Bears.
The
man.
Bears.
They are.
Bears
Caleb
right
Williams.
now. If you had to pick a team right now, it's the Bears are going to have Caleb Williams.
So, but they're going to do what they can. Zach Wilson's not giving them a chance to win, and you can't as a head coach. It's easy when you're out there watching Tua play, and he's doing things that are just amazing. But if you're that head coach, and players know ball, right? They know who's got the talent and who doesn't. I mean, what was it that Hill and Waddle were saying about Achane? That he was that guy. He's what he said. He's I can't remember. He's one of them or one of them dudes, whatever they called him. One of them ones. That was it. He was one of them ones.
Okay.
And what did he do? His second game. So yeah, you can just tell. And those guys in New York will know, like, this guy's not it. He's not going to give us a chance. He's not turning it around. I don't care how much leeway you give him.
The locker room is going to start turning on.
Yeah,
we talked about the Jets too long, but the locker room will start turning on that team. And I agree that even though he's Saleh's ride or die right now, like somebody said, by the time we get to him, there's going to be somebody else there. I don't know who, and I don't know if they'll be much better, but they're going to be somebody else.
They'll be checked out. Their season will be over, and they're checked out.
Zach Wilson was already benched once. You remember how happy the Jets players were when Mike White came in and started to become the quarterback? Like they were literally wearing Mike White t-shirts
and right in front of Zach Wilson. Like this is how bad we don't like.
We really don't like you, kid, because you're a smug son of a you know what. We don't like you.
They're struggling to put up points against the Patriots, and they turn around and flip channels and see Mike White tossing touchdowns in garbage time to Robbie Chosen.
Yeah, trust me.
That's got to sting, man, on a level that I don't even want to think about.
And then they're like, why didn't you just trade for Mike White again, man? Why'd you even let him go? No, we got to Trevor.
Miami doesn't have a third this year. I'll take it.
Did you see Colin Kaepernick wrote a letter to Jets ownership saying he wants to be on the practice squad?
He would probably be better than Zach Wilson.
I mean, I don't doubt it. I don't. But
honestly,
it's just like, why would
you could call him
be better than Zach Wilson?
You could call him 30 minutes before the game, throw pads on, and he would be better than Zach Wilson.
That's saying a lot. All right.
Yeah, sure,
We're 57 minutes in, 58 almost.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do zero hero. Okay. Duke, your hero for the Dolphins, and give me your score.
Oh man, 0.
That's getting harder, isn't it?
I'm gonna say after you score 70 points and your defense only allows 13 offensive points.
I'm sorry. Duke. I'm sorry.
What's that?
He looks like he could be the quarterback in a Disney Channel movie.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
That's a Disney. So
okay.
So for my 0, I mean, after that kind of performance, it's hard to pick one. I'm just going to say Danny Crossman, because do not just kick it out of the end zone. There's no reason to have that return touchdown. It didn't mean anything, but still. So that's a 0. Just don't do that anymore. But when you win 70-20, you can't do that. Hero, I don't know. Same problem. Jalen Waddle. Jalen Waddle is going to come back. Hill's going to get a lot of attention. So I think he's going to be the hero. I think he goes for
you stole my hero, man.
I think he's going to go. I think he's going to go for like 7, 140, and 2 touchdowns. As for final score, I'm going to say 31-28 Miami.
All right. So you can still pick the same hero, Ron. You're not obligated to find someone else.
Okay. Well, my 0. Let's see. I would say Eli Apple, but somebody mentioned something about Eli Apple's terrible. Yeah, well, he didn't play that much.
He didn't play that much. Cater Kohu was on the border,
and they trust Bethel more. They put Bethel in the nickel and put Kohu out on the boundary.
Oh yeah, Justin Bethel, for being a special teams ace, this man knows how to play.
He played more snaps than any other defensive player on the team. They trust him much more. So you didn't see much Eli Apple. Plus, he got a little dinged up. So my 0.
Perry Nickerson even played in the nickel some.
Yeah, I know. It was weird that Cam Smith was inactive. I don't know what that was about, but game plan, just like Easy E was inactive. Let's see. My 0. I'm gonna say Robbie Chosen. I think they're gonna rely on maybe a little too much. I don't know. I don't know if I trust him.
I mean, at this point, I think the only reason he was even playing was because Waddle wasn't there.
I give you, but now Craycraft isn't going to be there, so I wonder if they'll bring him up, or will they? Yeah, it's a different type of, or I think Easy E now probably comes in. I don't know, but we'll see. So I'll go Chosen if he plays for the 0. The hero, yeah, like I said, I like Waddle would have been my pick, but I'll give you somebody else. I'm gonna go another big A-Chan game, 8-Chan. Sounds like we're saying 8-Chan.
Just don't say 4-Chan.
Yeah, or 8-Chan. But I'm gonna go with another big A-Chan game. I think he'll be big in this game, and I'm gonna go Miami 34, Buffalo 24.
All right, so that's a semi-comfortable win there.
Yeah.
All right.
I think it'll be much more like none. I always say the Chargers game was always in doubt. I was nervous the whole time because it was so back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Yes, we won the Patriots game by only a touchdown, but for me, that game was never in doubt. And this Denver game was never in doubt from like the very beginning. It was never in doubt. I don't think it'll be like that. I think it'll be a little bit more like the Chargers game, just not as close, where we'll be nervous throughout most of the game, but by the end, we'll feel, by halfway through the fourth quarter, we'll be like, okay, we got this game.
All right. So I'll go ahead and I'll give my 0s and my hero. I personally am thinking that as far as the 0 is concerned, I'm going to go ahead and say, Robbie Chosen is a really good one. I'll try to come up with someone else. I'm going to say Durham Smythe. I don't think they're going to rely on Smythe too much this time. They didn't really rely on him last week either.
Hill played more snaps than Smythe, and I don't know if anybody has asked McDaniel about that or if we've had an explanation as to what happened or what. Game plan, I'm sure. But
Hill, I know. What was the game plan at that point? Because Durham Smythe was the guy. He is the guy. So why Julian Hill all of a sudden?
That's why I would love somebody to ask McDaniel that question, but I don't know that anybody really has, or if they have, I've missed it.
I have to check the transcripts. So I'm going to say Durham Smythe. I don't think he does much for the Dolphins. Not that he's bad. He didn't do much, and I don't think he's going to do much this time. My hero, how wonderful he is. I'm calling Andrew Van Ginkel.
Oh, man.
I think he's going to do something unseemly to Josh Allen.
Van Ginkel. Love it.
I think he's going to do something in this game. I think he's going to call something unexpected to Josh Allen. He's getting better at being on the inside, I think. He's starting to get a little more accustomed to it.
Oh,
He wasn't only on the edge this time.
Yeah, he's all over the place, man. He's phenomenal. This reminded me, I said Rip Van Ginkel only because, oh, man. Now I don't even remember their names. Remember the old show, and I know you do, Duke. Back in the day when I watched football, when football was over, especially if the Dolphins won, I went right to ESPN and watched NFL Prime Time. You know that show is still going on ESPN Plus. Man, talk about like a feeling, and again for us old guys, right? A feeling of taking the new and bringing it into the old. It was so fun watching Chris Berman do his little like 1 minute jobber on that Dolphins game that just happened this past Sunday. Go find it on TikTok, YouTube, somewhere, especially like I said, the old guys who remember the NFL primetime, because that was the only show you watched after football was that show back in the day. And it was really cool to see that. Like, it was almost like somebody did a recreation, but it actually happened. I forgot that show is still on.
Yeah, and I love the primetime music.
It's the same music and everything. It's
the NFL films.
That's
music,
nostalgic
music.
right there, man.
Dude, you can go turn on that. You can just go to YouTube or wherever and turn on that music, and you can just smell the fall in the air.
It gives me like little tinglies because it just reminds me of like my childhood and reminds me of my teenage years and watching the Dolphins play. And oh man,
do you remember
Marino?
Do you remember the one he did for Mark Bulger?
No, I do not.
He would. He would do the Wizard of Oz. I need another touchdown. So if you don't know what that reference is, you got to go look it up.
Yeah, right. that was fun. I encourage everybody to find that Chris Berman breakdown of this game this past Sunday, especially, like I said, the old folks.
All right. And my score for the game, by the way, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pick the Dolphins, of course, to win this game. Again, I don't think anybody can truly stop this offense. Maybe Buffalo slows them down, but even then, if nobody makes any stupid mistakes, then Dolphins can still score 30. They should have scored 30 against New England. Jason Sanders just wrecked it for everybody. So even if slowing them down,
I don't think the first one that got blocked was his fault. That was clearly some kind of like alignment, some kind of motion that they used that we hadn't seen before. But the second one, I think it made him nervous and he pushed it.
Like Jason Sanders needs help missing kicks.
He was 10 for 10 for extra points. Like the guy,
the one thing he's supposed to do.
First kicker in fantasy NFL history to have double digits without throwing a touchdown or kicking a field goal. So there you go.
Jason
fantasy
Sanders,
next gen stat for you.
Jason Sanders kicked nothing but PATs, and he still outscored some teams.
Yeah, that's true. That's hilarious. Yeah, Tua threw more touchdowns than half the quarterbacks in the league with right-handed last week.
Well, and
just with his right hand.
So I'm picking the Dolphins to win this game too. I think it'll be a little closer though. I think it's going to be a little bit more low scoring. I think the defenses are going to have to make some plays. So I'm going to go pick a score that's a little closer to what the New England game was. I'm going to say Dolphins get 28. I'm going to say that the Bills get 24.
That's fine. It'll be a little bit low scoring. You think a little bit lower score than
a little
70?
bit lower. Yeah, a little bit low scoring. I mean, if that's the new standard.
Wouldn't that be some shit if we score like 77 points or something? That would be the most insane thing. Like we would go from, I'm going to put it this way. It's really super early, but I'm just going to have a little fun. Now that we've had all the trepidation and hesitancy, I'm going to push that out of the way for like a couple minutes. I know we're supposed to leave. Sorry, guys. And I hope that nobody's super busy. I'm going to have some fun with this. Right now, I'm going to put Miami Dolphins in the top 5 of NFL offenses all time. I say they'll finish in the top 5 of NFL offenses all time. Comparing them to,
I need to know. Yeah,
comparing them to the greatest show on earth, right?
On turf. That was the Rams, right? Marshall Faulk and them.
The Patriots 07 offense, and then the Denver. What year was that?
Peyton
13. The Denver 2014 offense. Is there another one I'm missing? Maybe one of the Saints offenses, perhaps. I mean, shit. This guy Breeze threw for 5,000 yards like 7 or 8 seasons. It was insane. I know people don't realize how many times he did that, but I'm going to say that the Dolphins end up with a top 5 historically, like top 5 offense in NFL history this year. I believe they'll do it.
So I've got some of that pulled up. The top 5 scoring offenses of all time: 2013 Broncos, 2007 Patriots, 2018 Chiefs, 2011 Packers, 2012 Patriots. Those are your top 5. They went 606, 589, 565, 560, and 557 respectively.
How many points do we have right now?
130.
And it's only 3 weeks in.
Yeah. Yeah. And maybe we'll even at the end, we'll do a little, like a caveat, right? And do it, and we'll divide it by per
So
game, since there is an extra game. The
so
Dolphins should definitely, be in the top
they've
5.
got to get to 606, they need 476 points. And you divide that over 14 games. That's 34 points a game they have to average to tie between now and the end of the season.
Oh, they can do that. It's not even 5 touchdowns.
Well, at the
it
rate
is.
they're going,
It is if Sanders misses an extra point each time.
their rate right now is like 45 a game, which we know that's skewed a little bit.
A little bit.
A little bit. But they're on pace to break it by week 15.
I think the Dolphins will put up 50. They won't hit 70 again. We may never see another team do that for the rest of our lives. That's just fact. We may never see another team hit, like, especially me. I'm older than you guys, but maybe you guys will see it. I probably won't.
Not me.
But I think they'll put up a 50 burger 2 more times, because we haven't played a bad team yet. Like a bad team. Like, we still have to play. I mean, Giants aren't looking too hot. Carolina.
And that's going to be at home.
I know we still play Carolina. They're pretty terrible. There's a few. There's not a lot of bad teams we play, but we play a few bad teams. We also get to play the Commanders, right? They're not very good, and yeah, should be interesting. But I have a feeling that we'll put up a couple 50 burgers more, so that'll help that average out for sure.
So to get the team record, the team record was set in 1984, 513 points.
Dan Marino.
If they average 28 points a game for the remainder of the season, they will break the all-time team record. This will be the highest scoring
Dolphins offense
ever.
Yeah, I feel that one's pretty certain.
And that's another crazy thing about the stat is Buffalo won 38-3, but they had a defensive touchdown. Green Bay and Dallas were the 2 highest scoring overall teams going into week 3, but they had defensive and or special teams touchdown. Yeah. Miami has scored 130 offensive points. The defense is not added to that total. This is all offense.
Yeah.
When you have a lopsided scoring, you usually see something like, oh, well, there
pick
was
sixes
a game with some pick sixes and things like that.
And score. Yeah.
130 offensive points.
Dolphins scoring 80. Yeah, that would be
not in Buffalo, but
probably not in Buffalo. Yeah. But I think we'll put up a couple 50 burgers. It's coming. I think that's coming. 50 burger would be insane against Buffalo. Man, what a statement that would be to put up 50 against Buffalo. That would be insane. That would be amazing. It's not impossible. It isn't impossible. I just don't expect it to happen.
Here's what I'm going to say before we close it out.
Okay.
If the Dolphins end up getting close to 50 against Buffalo in Buffalo, I would take Tua out of the game, whether we're losing or not, because Matt Milano is going to see red and he's going to body slam Tua into the ground just because.
Well,
even after the play is over.
Well, think about it like this, though. These are 2 powerful offenses. You remember that game I've got it here, 2018, the Chiefs and the Rams. They scored. It was a Monday night game, and it was 54-51.
Oh yeah, that game was insane.
You could see that this game. This could be if the defenses just decide not to play, or the offenses are just that good, this might be like a 63-56 kind of game.
That would be so insane. As long as we win it, I'm down.
What is this? The Pac-12? Come on.
Yeah, I know, right? Exactly. I wonder, how many people, and I heard somebody mention this, but I was thinking the same thing as I'm watching it. How many people were looking at the ticker, and maybe they didn't even see the early game. Imagine this. Imagine you're somebody that didn't see the early games. You were busy on Sunday. You had stuff going on. You finally get to sit down and watch whatever crappy games, and there was 3 crappy games on at 4:30. And you're sitting there and you're just watching your game, whatever, or you're watching Red Zone, and you're looking at the ticker, and you're looking at the Dolphin score nah. You're getting your phone. That's got to be a typo, right? You look it up. What the hell? 70 points.
Or
I had people texting me that I hadn't heard from in a year. The lawn guy was texting me what the heck is going on?
Yeah. Or you're sitting at a stadium, right? You're sitting there. Where was the Patriots game in New York, or was that?
I don't
wherever it is,
remember.
either one. You're sitting there at one of those stadiums, and you're looking up, and you're looking at your own crappy game, and
Yeah.
it's just like a slog fest, and there's nothing going down. And you look up and you say, "Oh, Miami's got 35. Oh, Miami's got 42. Oh, they got." And eventually, you're sitting there, and you see the ticker at the stadium, you see the scoreboard, and you're like, somebody messed up. Like somebody's drunk.
Yeah.
Somebody's drunk on
63,
the computer.
70. Like, what
Yeah.
the heck? It was, I tell you what, again, I get the whole hesitancy and we're the Buffalo focus, but just focusing on only that day and only that game, taking it in a vacuum, it was one of the most, I put it up there with the amazing moments I can recall as a Dolphins fan in more recent time were the Wildcat game for sure. Like I put it up there with that. And the day Tannehill went off against, I think it was Houston, and when he had the 19 completions in a row to start a game.
18 completions in a row.
18 completions in a row to start a game. Yeah. So those two moments in recent Dolphins history is where I put that, especially the Wildcat game. This felt like what I felt like watching the Wildcat game. And that's more recent history. Most people watching remember that game. Were Dolphins fans at that game, and the way it was just like, holy crap, like came out of nowhere.
I was laughing, just
Oh, I was laughing every time the Dolphins scored. I was just laughing.
I was like, what is going on here? This is just,
it was just
unbelievable.
It was just like when they got to 56, I was like, holy crap, 50 burger, unreal. And then when they kept going for two more touchdowns,
some fun Dolphins trivia here. Now, Tyreek Hill was the one who dropped the pass that broke the streak for Tua. Whether it was a low pass or not, that was low. Targeted.
Well, there's a quite. I saw a film breakdown. If I may interrupt real quick, I saw a film breakdown, and the people that broke it down were 50-50 on whether Tua threw it to the spot and Hill ran deeper than he was supposed to, or whether Tua underthrew it. Based off where the defender was, they think Hill might have just not quite run what he was supposed to.
Tannehill set the record for the team, but he did it over the course of 2 games.
Yes.
He had it from the Titans game and then into the Texans game, which I remember that. That was the I still laugh when I see highlights because Lamar Miller took that screen pass.
Yeah.
And for a touchdown, and Dallas Thomas is out there and he just like dives and hits no one. It's still funny. But do you remember who broke the streak for Tannehill, his target, the receiver?
Anthony Fasano? No, I don't remember.
You got the right position.
Michael Agnew.
Deion Sims. Hit him right in the hands and bounced right off. I remember that.
It was nice. So 23-26 Tua was, right?
23-26.
That's good day's work.
Somehow he didn't get a perfect passer rating, but whatever.
Yeah,
all right.
Whatever.
Closing it off here.
He only had 26 attempts. I mean, if you have incompletions, you want to have more.
Yeah, he needed more attempts.
All right, whatever. We're closing in here, guys. Thank you all so much for listening. Go to prizepicks.com, use the promo code 5, that's FIVE, and they will match up to $100 on your initial deposit when you sign up. And of course, Biscayne Bay Brewing Company, the only brewing company in downtown Miami. We do have a watch party happening. It's going to start at 11:30 a.m. and we will start and we'll keep going until the game is over. So make sure you pop in and join us. We are going to be watching it. First beer is on the bar when you mention 5 Reasons Sports Network. So you just mentioned that you're with 5 Reasons and your first beer is free. So no reason not to pop in and say hello and watch some Dolphins football with us, as according to fan base anyway, our first true test. As far as I'm concerned, guys, we're Buffalo's first test. How about that?
You know what? I agree. I think we're more Buffalo's first test than they're our first test. We've played a really good team in the Chargers and a really good defense in the Patriots. We've been tested, at least some. They hadn't been tested at all, bro. Like, they've been tested on defense, and guess what? They shit the bed. They were tested on defense against the Jets, and they crapped out. So we'll see what happens in this game. But I feel like the Dolphins are going to win. I think we're the better team.
All right, let's see what happens. That's going to be it for this time. We're going to have Fins Nation tomorrow morning, where we one more Behind Enemy Lines on Friday. Extra Yards going to be coming up sometime this week with Alex Dono, Troy Stratford. Pre-game, post-game, Dolphins content all around, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you're tuned in to the 5 Reasons Sports Network. We will see you all next week, though, for another episode of The Pulse of Fins Nation.